So?
I will never cheat on you. You want to talk about it?
No.
Okay.
It's human nature. When we're told
One of the
not
most
to touch
talked
something.
about exits in Grey's Anatomy history belongs to Katherine Heigl, who played Dr. Isabel Izzy Stevens. Fans last saw her in season 6, when Izzy was fired and walked out on her husband, Alex Karev, never to return. But why did Heigl leave the medical drama so abruptly? Heigl herself has explained the decision. In Lynette Rice's 2021 book, How to Save a Life, the actress revealed that starting a family shifted her priorities. After adopting her daughter, she wanted more time at home and asked Shonda Rhimes to leave the series permanently. She later added that her mental health also played a role, admitting she felt the intense workload was breaking her at a young age. Of course, behind-the-scenes tension fueled the rumor mill. Heigl famously withdrew from Emmy consideration in 2008, saying she wasn't given strong enough material, a move many felt insulted the writers. Years later, Rhimes hinted at bad blood, telling The Hollywood Reporter she had a strict no *** policy on set and added, "There are no Heigls in this situation." Still, Heigl has since praised Rhimes for the groundbreaking diversity and strong female roles she brought to television. As for Izzy's story, she endured heartbreak with Denny Duquette, an affair with George, a battle with cancer, and finally her sudden firing before disappearing forever. Though her exit was messy, Katherine Heigl has continued to work steadily in Hollywood. Today, Grey's Anatomy is heading into its 22nd season, and while Izzy Stevens remains one of its most polarizing characters, her legacy and Heigl's complicated departure are still hot topics among fans. Hey lovely viewers, welcome to our channel Grey's Anatomy Official. Why Katherine Heigl's Izzy Stevens left Grey's Anatomy. Partway through the 6th season of Shonda Rhimes' massive hit Grey's Anatomy, specifically in the episode I Like You So Much Better When You're Naked, which aired in January 2010, we see Isabel Izzy Stevens, one of the series' original surgical interns played by Katherine Heigl, for the final time. To call Izzy's exit abrupt is an understatement. After getting fired from Seattle Grace Mercy West Hospital, Izzy flees, leaving her new husband, Dr. Alex Karev, Justin Chambers, behind. When she comes back in I Like You So Much Better When You're Naked, she suggests that maybe she and Alex can fix things. He tells her that's not possible, and Izzy is never seen or heard from again. Characters leave Grey's Anatomy all the time. Patrick Dempsey's leading man, Dr. Derek Shepherd, often referred to as McDreamy, left the series in season 11. Sandra Oh hung up her stethoscope in season 10 when her character, Dr. Christina Young, moved to Switzerland, and even the titular Meredith Grey, played by Ellen Pompeo, left the series in season 19. Pompeo is still an executive producer, provides the show's voiceover, and, for my money, pops up on the long-running medical drama often enough that it's like she never left at all. So, why did Heigl leave Grey's Anatomy? I'll be honest, a lot of nasty rumors concerning Rhimes, Heigl, and bad on-set behavior swirled around Heigl's exit, but I'll just provide the actor's own words. In the 2021 book, How to Save a Life, The Inside Story of Grey's Anatomy, by entertainment journalist Lynette Rice, Heigl said she left when she and her husband Josh Kelly adopted a daughter from South Korea. "I started a family, and it changed everything for me," Heigl revealed. "It changed my desire to work full-time. I went on family leave and spent 3 months in Utah and just got to be a mom, and it changed my whole perspective. That was really the turning point for me. So before I was due back, I spoke again to Shonda about wanting to leave. Then I waited at home until I was given the formal okay that I was off the show. The rumors that I refused to return were totally untrue." Then, in 2022, she said her departure was also due to her mental health. "I think with Grey's at that time, I didn't feel I had any other choice but to leave," Heigl said to SiriusXM host Bevy Smith in an interview. "It was breaking me, and I was young. I mean, I was vibrating at a level that I was gonna get sick, and, I did get mentally sick." What happens to Katherine Heigl's Izzy Stevens on Grey's Anatomy? Okay, let's back up. Who even was Dr. Isabel Izzy Stevens within the context of Grey's Anatomy? When the show begins, we're introduced to 5 surgical interns: Izzy Stevens, Meredith Grey, Alex Karev, Christina Young, and George O'Malley, T.R. Knight, who fall under the charge of the imperious yet fair Dr. Miranda Bailey, a supremely talented second-year resident played by Chandra Wilson. Izzy is just as smart and talented as her peers, despite some initial hazing from Alex over the fact that she used to be a lingerie model, but she gets a little too involved with her patients, which is definitely an issue when it comes to her wholly inappropriate relationship with heart transplant candidate Denny Duquette, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. After Denny dies and leaves Izzy a whole chunk of money for her trouble, the two briefly got engaged before Izzy cut Denny's LVD wire to help him jump ahead in line for a transplant, only for Denny to die of a post-transplant stroke. Izzy still gets reprimanded for being too personal with the patients she treats. That's where things really get chaotic. In the show's 4th season, Izzy and George have an affair, throwing their entirely platonic dynamic in the trash just for the sake of drama. Shortly thereafter, Izzy realizes she has metastatic cancer in her skin, brain, and lungs, which seems, at first glance, to be a death sentence. Also, she only realizes she has cancer because her dead fiancé Denny keeps appearing as a hallucination, albeit one she can have sex with. If you've never watched Grey's Anatomy, take my word for it that this explanation never makes any sense whatsoever. Eventually, George gets hit by a bus and dies, sure, and Izzy survives, only to get fired in season 6 and then, as I said, vanish into the ether forever. As for those rumors, the gossip surrounding Katherine Heigl's abrupt exit from Grey's Anatomy was at a fever pitch during that time, and comments from Heigl and Shonda Rhimes didn't help matters. What happened between Katherine Heigl and Shonda Rhimes? In 2007, Katherine Heigl won an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, specifically for Izzy's arc with Denny in the show's 2nd season. But by 2008, she was telling the New York Times that she removed herself from Emmy consideration because she didn't feel as if the material she was given on Grey's Anatomy was good enough. I should also give Heigl credit here by noting that she walked this back in 2010, telling Entertainment Weekly that she thought she was doing the right thing at the time and felt bad that she had ambushed the show's writers, and it wasn't very nice or fair. The damage appeared to be done, though, and Shonda Rhimes is nothing if not a vengeful god. In 2014, Rhimes spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about her hit series scandal and said she maintained a no way *** cool policy on the set, really clearing the air by concluding, "There are no Heigls in this situation. I don't put up with bullsh** or nasty people. I don't have time for it." Ouch. There's clearly no love lost between Heigl and Rhimes, but at the same time, Heigl has made positive comments about Rhimes since then. During a Variety Actors on Actors 2023 chat with Ellen Pompeo, Heigl spoke to the diversity shown on Grey's Anatomy, soundly praising Rhimes. Kudos to Shonda for changing the entire dialogue of network television at a time that really didn't have women in those kinds of roles in the story, didn't have as much diversity, Heigl told Pompeo. "I was young. I wasn't paying that much attention. It felt like a great job. I didn't realize it was as impactful as it was. All's well that ends well. Grey's Anatomy is somehow still on the air, and Heigl is still acting. If you want to relive her glory days as Izzy Stevens, the series is streaming on Hulu and Netflix now. There are few television shows as warm and comforting as Columbo, the long-running mystery series starring Peter Falk as the eponymous detective. Each episode begins with a murder, and the fun isn't trying to figure out who done it, but instead watching Columbo put together the pieces and catch the bad guy. Whether you're watching one of the original 1970s television episodes or one of the Movie of the Week episodes that came out all the way through 2003, you can sit secure in the knowledge that Columbo will probably take the rich and powerful down a peg or two and be almost impossibly lovable while doing it. Despite the fact that Peter Falk wasn't originally the series creator's choice to play Columbo, he is what makes the show so incredible watchable, as he seems to aimlessly wander through crime scenes in his rumpled trench coat and ruin criminals' days with his trademark, "Just one more thing." Almost every episode of Columbo is fun to watch as a result, but some are definitely better than others. Although Columbo himself is incredibly consistent from episode to episode, there are very different vibes to each story courtesy of different directors and different murderers, played by a menagerie of famous guest stars. Seriously, they got everyone from William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy from Star Trek to Johnny freaking Cash. Here are the 8 best episodes of Columbo, ranked from worst to best, although worst is a very loose term when it comes to the magic of Columbo. Pull up a seat, grab yourself a fake stogie, and read about the very best Columbo has to offer. 8. The Bye Bye Sky High IQ Murder Case. A regular feature on Columbo is murderers who think they're smarter than everyone else. But in the Bye Bye Sky High IQ murder case, the murderer is actually a member of a genius-level IQ club. Oliver Brandt, Theodore Bickel, is a member of the Sigma Society, like the real-life Mensa, a high IQ club, who is discovered embezzling by his friend Bertie, Sorel Book. Oliver comes up with an elaborate murder plan that he thinks will look like a botched burglary, but Columbo ends up pinning him anyway by using his sky-high ego against him. Columbo makes up an even more ridiculously elaborate murder plan, and while explaining it, Oliver gets furious and explained how he actually put the whole thing together. It's great stuff and one of the most entertaining and satisfying final reveals in all of Columbo. The episode also features a young Jamie Lee Curtis as a waitress in a cafe, just 1 year before she first appeared as Laurie Strode in John Carpenter's Halloween. It's not a big role, but it is fun to see her pop up for a moment as Columbo quizzes one of Oliver's accomplices. The Bye Bye Sky High IQ murder case is one of the more complicated Columbo episodes, but it's also one of the best. 7. Try and Catch Me. In the Season 7 opener, Try and Catch Me, Columbo must test his wits against murder mystery writer Abigail Mitchell, Ruth Gordon, an elderly woman who's clearly inspired by real-world author Agatha Christie, who wrote the famous Hercule Poirot mystery novels. Abigail believes that her nephew-in-law Edmund, Charles Frank, murdered her beloved niece, and the police ruled it was an accident, so she takes matters into her own hands. She lures Edmund into a massive safe to allegedly show him some of the riches he stands to inherit. Then she locks him in there and lets him suffocate. As the LAPD investigate, Abigail uses her murder mystery writing skills to throw them off course, ruining evidence and really playing up the sweet little old lady routine. Unfortunately for her, Lieutenant Columbo is on the case, and he even brought his beloved Basset Hound dog along with him. One of the best things about Try and Catch Me is the back and forth between Abigail and Columbo, as he seems to have affection and empathy for her in ways that he rarely does with the murderers on the series. She is one of the more sympathetic killers, even if she's still very much in the wrong, and Columbo eventually sees that justice is done by finding evidence she couldn't hide, a note from Edmund just before he died, indicating that she killed him. Even if the killer is as prepared as a mystery writer, they need to remember that Columbo always gets his man or woman. 6. How to Dial a Murder. One of Lieutenant Columbo's many lovable traits is that he's a dog person, and in How to Dial a Murder, he gets to pal around with some beautiful Dobermans, who also happen to be trained killers. Oh, and their names are Laurel and Hardy. In one of the most unusual murders of the series, Dr. Eric Mason, Nickel Williamson, trains the dogs to attack and kill anyone who says the trigger word, Rosebud, a word forever tied to Orson Welles' classic Citizen Kane. He kills Dr. Charles Hunter, Joel Fabiani, using this method, and once Columbo is on the case, he tries to use it on the detective as well. It doesn't go so well for him, however, as Columbo has trained the dogs to kiss people instead of kill them when they hear the command, which is pretty darn funny. How to Dial a Murder can feel a little silly in places, but it also features one of the show's most harrowing murder sequences in which Dr. Mason uses a phone call to get his victim to say the word and then listens in as he's torn to pieces. It's nasty stuff that's countered perfectly by Columbo getting cuddly with the pups. A little silliness mixed with murder mystery can be a whole lot of fun, and Columbo basically perfected the formula. Oh, and Sex and the City star Kim Cattrall appears as one of Dr. Mason's psychology students, who nearly becomes another dearly departed doggy snack. 5. Any Old Port in a Storm. People have a tendency to underestimate Columbo because of his rumpled appearance and laid-back manner, but he manages to surprise them, and sometimes the audience, at every turn. In Any Old Port in a Storm, Columbo must learn the finer points of winemaking and wine tasting in order to solve a murder, and he does so brilliantly. Donald Pleasance guest stars as winemaker Adrian Carzini, who murders his half-brother Rick, Gary Conway, over a dispute regarding the family winery's future, and he's one of Columbo's most despicably entertaining villains. Carzini thinks he's above everyone else, especially the seemingly doddering detective, and so he teaches Columbo everything he knows about wine. This is his undoing because some spoiled wine ends up being the smoking gun in Rick's murder, and Columbo might never have caught him if he hadn't divulged such details about his beloved craft. Pleasance and Falk are a delight to watch play against one another, and Columbo's newfound knowledge of wines is a treat. Usually we only see Columbo with his trademark cigars or occasionally chowing down on some diner food, so the world of wine is a bit of a joyous departure because he sticks out like a sore thumb in a wrinkled trench coat. For By Dawn's Early Light, actor Patrick McGoohan became a regular fixture on Columbo, playing 4 different murderers over the course of the series and directing 5 episodes as well. His first appearance was arguably his best, however, as he played Colonel Lyle C. Rumford, the head of a military school who murders the president of the Board of Trustees in order to protect his continued career. He is perfectly despicable as the colonel, who frames a goofy young cadet for the crime. The murder plot itself is pretty fantastic, involving a live cannon, but what really makes By Dawn's Early Light so delightful is Columbo's in-depth investigation. Columbo himself is always the highlight of the series, but in By Dawn's Early Light, he decides to stay at the military academy in order to best investigate the murder. That means he bunks down with the cadets and goes through a bit of their routine, which is hilarious given his laid-back, rumpled demeanor. It's hard to imagine Columbo back in police academy, where he had to iron his shirts and shine his shoes, and he's just as out of place here. By Dawn's Early Light is an absolute blast, unless of course you're the president of the Board of Trustees, then it's a very different kind of blast. 3. Double Shock. Being the murderer on Columbo became a pretty huge guest star spot, the kind of thing that showed an actor was really a somebody. One of the best guest stars of all was Martin Landau, the actor known for his role on the Mission Impossible television series, who later played late actor Bela Lugosi in Tim Burton's Ed Wood. In the Season 2 finale, Double Shock, Landau plays a pair of identical twins who are both suspects in the murder of their Uncle Clifford. Unlike most episodes, the true murderer wasn't actually revealed until the end, so the audience was in just as much suspense as our beloved lieutenant. Double Shock also features one of the show's most impressive guest stars in a minor role, as the original Catwoman, Julie Newmar, plays Clifford's beautiful young fiancée. She spends most of her screen time stretching and showing off her legs, clad in a black leotard, but it's clear she's having a bit of fun vamping it up. What's not to love about an episode that has a genuine mystery to solve? Double Martin Landau's and Julie freaking Newmar. 2. Swan Song. Speaking of absolutely incredible guest stars, in the Season 3 episode, Swan Song, country music legend Johnny Cash appeared as wildly famous gospel singer Tommy Brown. His wife Edna, the always fabulous Ida Lupino, has him on a short leash, however, after she catches him sleeping with one of his underage backup singers, Marion, Bonnie Van Dyke. Tommy, an ex-con, wants to live more of a rock and roll lifestyle, and so he comes up with an elaborate plan to kill both of them. He drugs them and then pilots a plane out into the middle of nowhere before parachuting out, leaving it to crash in a ball of fire. He sustains minor injuries and some of Lieutenant Columbo's sympathy, though that doesn't last for too long. Cash's acting is surprisingly decent, and he gets to sing in the episode, which makes for some entertaining television. It's an interesting episode because even after Columbo has arrested Brown, he tells him that he believes a man with a voice like that can't be all bad. Throughout the series, Columbo shows that he has empathy for even the worst killers, because he's both an optimist and a humanist at heart. Episodes like Swan Song show why Columbo himself is so unlike any other cop on television, before or since. A friend indeed. One thing is for certain about Lieutenant Columbo. He was one unusual police officer. He was supposed to represent the ideal version of a cop, an investigator with a solid moral core who stands up for what's right even when it goes against the status quo. In the Season 3 finale, A Friend Indeed, audiences are introduced to the show's version of a bad cop in Richard Kiley's Deputy Commissioner Mark Halperin. Halperin helps his friend Hugh Caldwell, Michael McGuire, cover up the accidental murder of Caldwell's wife in exchange for Caldwell doing the same for him, as he's grown tired of his wife Margaret, Rosemary Murphy. A Friend Indeed is one of the darkest episodes of Columbo and has none of the typical silliness, but it's a perfect example of why the series works because Fox Columbo is incredibly watchable no matter what. A Friend Indeed features a dastardly double murder and one of its craftiest villains, and the fact that he's not only a cop but Columbo's superior makes it all the more compelling. Columbo also gets to be plenty clever, with one of the show's best gotcha moments in its entire run. It would be criminal to ruin it here, but Columbo gets to really show Halperin who is the better cop and the better human being. Grey's Anatomy's worst couple must break up in season 22. Ever since Drive Derek Shepherd, the love of Dr. Meredith Grey's life, was killed off of Grey's Anatomy in season 11 in 2015, the medical drama has been searching for her next great love interest, and because she and Dr. Nick Marsh are the show's worst couple, they must break up in season 22. Fans across the internet have taken to social media to express their distaste for the pairing, so their relationship should end. Meredith, Ellen Pompeo, and Nick Scott Speedman first met during season 14 when he was a patient at Grey Sloan Hospital. He returned in season 18, and he and Meredith eventually began dating and later became a couple. After Derek's death, Meredith has been involved with several men, including William Thorpe, Scott Elrod, Nathan Riggs, Martin Henderson, Andrew DeLuca, Giacomo Gianniotti, and Cormac Hayes, Richard Flood, and those relationships didn't work out, but Nick has been her worst pairing by far. Meredith takes Nick for granted throughout their relationship. Meredith has repeatedly taken Nick for granted. When she decided to move to Boston, she didn't discuss it with him at all, which made him feel as though he wasn't really a part of her life. Later, when Meredith's son, Bailey, suffered from early appendicitis while she was away, Nick rushed him to the hospital. Instead of thanking him for caring for her son, Meredith was livid with Nick for making a medical decision regarding him without her consent. She told him that she was all her children had, but Nick pointed out to her that she actually had a village, including him. Meredith explained that she'd been doing things on her own for a long time, and it might take her a minute to adjust. Nick responded that he had a minute. Even though Nick gives his all to their relationship, Meredith has consistently proven that she doesn't appreciate him. She even once pretended not to hear him during a phone call when he told her that he loved her. Nick always forgives her and takes her back, but this is an unhealthy pattern. Nick deserves better, which is why he should move on from Meredith. Meredith believes she's the son during Grey's Anatomy season 10, before Meredith's best friend, Dr. Christina Young, Sandra Oh, left the hospital. She gave her some advice about Derek. She told her, "You are a gifted surgeon with an extraordinary mind. Don't let what he wants eclipse what you need. He's very dreamy, but he is not the son. You are." While this quote was very powerful at the time because of the dynamics of Meredith and Derek's relationship, it has since made Meredith believe that she's the center of the universe, and everyone else revolves around her. Meredith had previously pleaded with Derek to pick me, choose me, love me. But, in a stunning reversal, she told Nick that she wouldn't beg him to love her. While it's been wonderful to see Meredith grow over the years, she needs to find a balance between being a strong, independent woman and a considerate partner. She and Nick should be equals in their relationship, but instead she acts like she's doing him a favor by being with him, and it's hard to watch. Meredith has to stop applying Christina's advice to her relationship with Nick, even if it's subconscious, because he's not Derek. Meredith and Nick's relationship has run its course, and she doesn't prioritize it in any way. Her children and her career will always come first, especially her Alzheimer's research. The internet is right. Meredith and Nick are Grey's Anatomy's worst couple, and they should break up in season 22. Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.